Alright. Let's just talk about some stuff today. That's creepy, right? Alright. Let's talk about winter hats today, okay? What do you guys wear when it's really, really cold out and stuff? Okay. For me, I like to cover the old ears. That's the first thing that gets really cold. Generally are my fingers and my ears, which kind of makes sense. They're kind of sticking out there, you know. So I need something with the flaps. This is my trooper hat from, I don't know how old this is, 10, 15 years old or something. I believe it's a leather with muskrat trim or something. Back when fur was actually fashionable. This was actually way too deep on me. When I put it on, for some reason, it was just too deep, and my eyes were somewhere behind this, like up there, instead of down here. So yeah, it was a little big, but it was more like deep. So I looked at that as an opportunity to kind of modify it and pad it with something in there that would keep me even warmer. So what I did is I went to the fur district. We have a fur district in New York. A lot of people don't know it, where the fur wholesalers, make furs. Usually there's a lot of Ukrainian and Russian guys up there and stuff. And they have these fur-filled studios with sewing machines, and it's just like fur in the air and everything. And they make trooper shapes, which they call the ushanka, and the long envelope shape, like the ambassador. You generally see those a lot in curly lamb, Persian lamb. So those are the two shapes. I believe that the long envelope shape is for the Russian officers, and these are for the troopers, for the soldiers. These keep you warmer. The other ones look more dressy and elegant, basically. Flaps up or flaps down. So what I did is I went over to the furrier, and I got this stuff called sheared beaver, which is, it's what the hats are made out of, the same stuff, the beaver fur. and that's its natural color. So what I did is I asked if they had any scraps, and I bought some scraps, and I made discs out of them, and I just kind of sewed them and hot glued them into place, and I put some layers, layer upon layer upon layer, just to make it, warmer and thicker on the inside. So there's about like, I don't know, an inch or so of sheared beaver in there. I have it in other places too. It's going around the, underneath the visor part in here. Let me put that back in, hold on. Okay. So yeah, you've also got it inside here too, right in the bottom. So there's in there and there's in the crown. And you can see it, it's in the front there too. These were pretty cheap. The scraps were cheap. I was able to talk them down to, like a full hat like this, they can sell for many hundreds of dollars and stuff. And the retailer that they sell it to will probably even, double that price or something. We don't really deal with furs anymore. They've become very out of fashion. We just do faux furs now that look pretty much exactly the same. And the faux furs usually, you could fold them a little smaller too, which is nice, because the leather doesn't fold very small. But yeah, it's a trooper. The front snaps down. So when it's really blizzarding out, you can turn this thing into kind of like a visor, or you could bend it, and with the tension against your head, you could kind of bring it down over your eyes as low as you want. Just lower it by folding it out or folding it in, Got some tension against it, there's to your head, right? So if you want it lower towards your eyes, you fold it more down that way. So basically, your whole face is covered, So you got the bottom covered, okay? And if the snow's blowing right in your face and you just can't deal with it, you unsnap this, bring it down. You can bring it down lower and lower. And basically, there's nothing showing here except like your nose or something, or you could put your nose, your mouth, everything behind it if you just kind of turn your head, or if you tie it the right way and stuff, So that's like when there's almost nothing showing there. Basically, when it's up there, it's for show, it looks good. It's trim. Makes it look a little nicer too. Here's some tricks to use these things, okay? You're going to find that when you put these things on, with ear flaps down, that you're going to have a lot of trouble hearing the traffic. So if you're crossing the street, your ears are completely blocked. Like if you put your palms over your ears and just cover them, that's what you're dealing with. So it's like a deaf world. It's very thick and warm, but you're also pretty much reducing your hearing to, like 5% or whatever. It's just a cracky hearing. You could get maybe a loud horn honk, but nothing else. So when you step into the street, you're not getting that ambient kind of subconscious layout of the road. As you take that first step, you hear, you kind of know what's going on and stuff. There's a car to the right somewhere, let's take a look and see where he is, or there's a car on the left, he might be far, maybe close, let's check it, But if you don't hear any of those subtleties, you just kind of walk and get hit by cars and stuff, which can be kind of like, like fatal and stuff, So don't mess around. There's a trick to tying these things nice and tight, keeping yourself warm, but leaving a little bit of a hole. So in other words, you're covering most of your ear, but you're leaving just a tiny bit so you can hear. All right, I'll show you how that thing goes. Okay. All right. So you got your troopers on. I can't hear a thing. Okay. And generally, we're going to tie it under. Bam, we're done, right? Well, my thing is tie it behind your head like this. Okay. Tie it in the back. This is my little weird Eskimo hack or something. Okay, you wind up getting a point, kind of like a 3/4 ear thing, exactly what you would design if somebody wanted to leave the tiniest bit of ear out. So you're able to kind of adjust it. Okay, I want to hear really well, or if you're not paying attention to it, you just hear. But the tips of your ears up on top are all everything's pretty much warm. You're getting most of that covered. Not this though. So what I would say is this is a really good way to wear it. If you feel you're not crossing the street and you're safe, you can always just dip it down a little bit. Bam, you're covered, everything. But you bring it out, there's your natural position you'd wear it at, you know? So yeah, don't get hit by cars when you wear your ushanka. Tie it behind your head and stuff. And it also brings me back to the modification thing, that it's okay for you to change up your hats and stuff. A lot of my hats have complete, just stock, you know, nothing changed. Like my two Kelly Green hats, one of them I changed, I put little ventilation holes, but it still looks the same. It's almost, you know, invisible. And I took the linings out of both, which again, it looks the same, so the hat mods were invisible. So it still looks exactly like it came out of the box, the same shape that the factory gave me. I didn't change anything on the brim, the top, you know, it's all the same. But other hats I own, I change up a lot. I could go through them all, you know, like my brown temple I was wearing yesterday, I had the big turkey feather in it. That's a simple mod right there. Or this hat. The turkey feather was mine. There's a little pin there. I think it's a buffalo nickel thing from some Stetson or something that was laying around the store. And I put a faded band on there. No, I think Van put that on. I'm sorry, it's an antique band. So it's oxidized basically, like the sides of the roll get the oxygen and the air, and they oxidize where the middle is covered up. So you get like a fade. We do have stuff like this. It's like naturally aged antique ribbon. They're, you know, French, really good quality. Some of them are, you know, like from, you know, like the 30s, the 40s, the 20s. They're old. And when they oxidize, they look super, super cool. So that's a really nice thing. But yeah, that's a good modification. You get yourself a turkey tail feather and you could stick it in any hat you want. Let's try a different one. We tried this one the other day, you know. So you got the side thing, you know, which looks really cool. Got that kind of Neil Young, earthy thing going on, you know. Or that kind of Native American thing, which is kind of cool. I like that. Could do one of these even. Get that Billy Jack action happening, you know. I personally like it straight or up like that, or just laying back, you know. Laying down real flat looks good because it makes it a little bit more subtle. Just kind of let it flop down. Yeah. It's like the Mike Campbell look. Mike Campbell, Tom Petty kind of laid back thing. Simple modification on a turkey tail feather. You know, you get yourself a big feather. You could buy them, they're easy. You look up trimmings. Trimmings are where the hat makers get them and stuff. Don't buy it, it's some weird touristy other thing. You know, you could probably get these things on Amazon, or try M&K Trimming or feather places that are in Manhattan on 30th Street. They would be between 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, that area. So probably East 30th, I guess it would say. How's everybody handling the quarantine? You know, I don't know how many months it's been since March, or like 9 or 10 months or something. Yeah, it's like 9 months or something. So everybody doing okay? I'm starting to get weird, like dry skin and stuff from staying inside, and that if you have to like put a lot of lotion on. You guys getting weird like symptoms, the things that like you didn't get before, you know, you started quarantine? But you know, a lot of you guys might be working. I'm basically just kind of running the house here, making videos, and that's just about it. You know, running the house, dinners, trying to help my son with his homework, and shopping, etc., etc. but vaccinations are coming. My wife was vaccinated, which is a beautiful thing, and I know other people who have appointments, so that's a good thing. You're starting to hear people you know that are getting vaccinated, and I'm hoping that happens to me sooner, not later, so I could get back to work. But anyway, we're talking about hat modifications now a little bit too. So let's talk about making your hats your own. Let me show you another one of mine. Okay. All right, I got a few of them here. Okay, this hat came open crown. What I did is I did that to it, which I like. Then I flattened the brim, which I liked, and then after flattening it, I started doing something else to get some kind of weird curl, and I kind of screwed it up, and that happened right in the middle of this, like, March 16th time where COVID got really bad, and I decided I had to stay home. It was like, we had about a week of going in with, like, you know, gloves and masks, and then I got too freaked out. You know. But anyway, I was right in the middle of this project, and you can see what happens. I flattened the brim, and I didn't finish flattening it. It needed, you know, a couple of more goes arounds, you know, a little more stiffener maybe. And actually, I probably stiffened it enough. It just needed to be really flattened. What we do is we use a flat hat block, kind of like a donut shape, big wooden donut, but it's flat. It's just heavy and flat. And then the crown just sticks in the hole of the donut. The rest of it just stays on there, and you could put weights on it, you know, like any kind of stuff you have that's heavy. You could stack up more hat blocks, or you could put like steel things that you own, you know, or they even make, we have this like hydraulic thing with a big sandbag that comes down like a vise, but it's usually not necessary. But yeah, we put a flat, but I didn't get to do that, so the quarantine happens right in the middle. So that was one of my mods with this hat. I flattened the top, I flattened the brim, then I took this horsehair band that was broken. We sell these horsehair bands generally in earth tones, the natural colors, you know, like the natural horsehair colors, the natural brown, black, gray, and combinations of all those things, natural black, brown, and gray. But this red, white, and blue one has some kind of indigo and natural dyes in it. We don't sell a lot of these. This one broke, so I just kind of tied it together. I really didn't know what to do with it, put it in a discount rack, so I just started wearing it, kind of sporting it, and yeah, it's broken, but it's alright, I don't care. But this is an example of, you know, modifying the heck out of your hat. I did a lot of stuff to this. And this hat actually could be really cool like this, I think. I have a feeling that I probably should have left it open crown, but I would have liked it more, kind of like my blue hat. Somehow I started telling myself that, like, I don't have a hat with that shape and that I should get one or something. But, yeah, I'm not that into it, you know, I'm probably going to get rid of it. This hat needs to be, get rid of the crown shape. It needs to be redone, so I'm going to give this thing a total overhaul. The flat brim, yeah, I think it's also a little tight. I should have bought it more oversized, which was kind of dumb. You can see the sun happening to the brim already. That's a tight hat. Somebody was asking me how you get that Indiana Jones thing where the front goes down, the back goes down, but the side curls up. Okay, that shape is pretty much impossible. It doesn't want to really do it, but you can go down and then just kind of, you know, do that if you want. I personally think what you're looking at is just a hat that's tight. So when you stretch a hat that's too small, it generally either goes, you know, up or it goes down. It buckles one or the other ways. So when you're seeing that from the front, a hat that's too tight, it buckles that way. But sometimes it doesn't buckle until you get it on, you know? So there's no Indiana Jones thing, but when I get it on and it starts getting tight, you get that western curve. And that's what you're looking at when you see that curl on the sides. God, who was it asked me? They said, I want to get that indie thing. And I've been asked this like once a year for the last 25 years, you know. How do you get that thing where it's down in the front, down in the back, and the sides kind of curl up? Because it's going against the grain of everything a snap rim wants to do. Like if this thing snaps down, and this snaps down, everything here follows suit. It's got that arc and wants to go that way. Now, the other way is completely, it wants to flip it, you know? So to keep the front and the back down and just flip the sides up, it's real hard. It's almost impossible. And what it does is it bends your felt. So in other words, your felt can get stretched. Do you know how sometimes you get an arc on the top of a hat? You buy a hat and it's perfectly flat on top like that, right? And then you look at it later on, you know, like a year later, and you notice this dimple thing. You see that? It looks crappy, right? Okay, what that is that you didn't have enough depth, but you kept wearing it, and your head made the arc. What it did is it actually stretched the felt. Okay, it didn't change the shape of it. It stretched it a little too. So when you go to open crown this hat and put a different shape in it or whatever, and you want to see what a nice open crown shape it has, that's gone because you've already distorted the top and made some kind of like stretching action. It's hard for you to see it, but you could see the stretch part. See, it's making a little shadow. Let's see if I can just bring it down if you can see it better. But yeah, it's stretched out in the center there. There it is. It's a good view, maybe. Let's see just the area. It's like one little area or something. Your head will do what it needs to do if you keep pulling it down to the same point, you know. This hat came with some kind of a very narrow ribbon, and I just wanted a wider band. So I stuck some old hat band on it that was wider. Same thing. It's too tight on me, this one. I think it didn't come big enough. This one came up to it's a 59, which is a large, which is not my size. I'm more like an XL. Sometimes I even prefer a double X, like a 62. So yeah, that's a hat that I could wear sometimes, but I can't wear it when my hair is tied back like this. Only when my hair is going down. So like when I wash my hair and it's like down and looking really nice and everything, then it's small and it's kind of like as the days go on, it gets knotted, you know, and when it's time to wash it again, it gets smaller sort of. So that's what happens with curly hair. It kind of like, it gets thicker sort of. So I could wear this with my hair down only pretty much, but when my hair was tied in a ponytail, you know, no way. What else did I modify here? Anything else? This hat here, okay, this one had a some kind of stain on the brim. I actually had to cut the brim, so instead of a 3, it's now like a 2 3/4 or something like that. That was a modification. The other thing is that it got really worn out here. There was some kind of stain, and I kept grinding it so much it became threadbare. It's like 10 years of like sanding it, which was a big mistake. Yeah, you could sand your hat like once, twice, 3, 4 times, but I was doing it like, you know, 50, 60, 80 times or something, just like all the time. For like a decade. So I would say if you sand your hat, you know, don't do it more than 5 or 10 times, or there's a chance you could go deeper. I would say 10 times you're probably fine, but unless you're going really deep, but that's unusual. But yeah, I sanded some kind of deep stain out of it, and I sanded it again, and I sanded it again and again, and it got threadbare. So what I did is I turned this hat around, so the other way now. I took out the little bow so it doesn't hit you in the head anymore, the inside bow, and I just reversed it. So now my hat is clean in the front, it's got a flow on the back. It's kind of a modification. It's when I put a lining back in it. But, you know, getting back to certain other hats, I don't like to modify. My green hats, this one, I keep them perfectly the same and I don't change them. Other ones like this, I had to for fit reasons, and that's about it. So I'll show you guys a little bit more of my collection soon. Okay, take care.